This is an Ethereum emergency update. Markets tend to move in fives and threes, and Ethereum is approaching or is in a really strong resistance zone that we want to be aware of. And we are due a big correction, which hasn't arisen yet. Doesn't mean it's going to, but it does mean it's highly probable. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I appreciate your support. But let's dive straight in. So the basics, right? I'm just going to break this down for you on all markets and all time frames. Markets tend to move in fives and threes. And when we can identify a clear five-wave structure, we want to take it seriously. And then we can use some other indicators in line with this in terms of momentum. Momentum is like the math of the market. And then the five-wave structure is like the psychology, the crowd psychology of the market. And especially when the wave 5, what I'm going to identify or outline over here, is overextended, like it's pretty big, this wave 5, which is unusual. It's typically more common for it to be the same size as this wave 1. So this is just an indication of some type of panic buying, and Ethereum is showing signs that it's running out of steam. We're going to go into the price action in just a second, but also just note that there's these ratios in this world called Fibonacci ratios that apply in human nature, and it was also figured out that they apply in crowd psychology when it comes to markets. I'm not going to go into detail of what these ratios are, but these are very, very key resistance levels. And if you're also just familiar with basic support and resistance, this up here, just above the 2000 level line, is a major resistance zone from previous tops and highs and low and touch points and everything else. So just be on high alert that Ethereum might be topping out and that we are due a correction. And I'm going to talk about what kind of correction should you anticipate if it does occur. By the way, if you want to just take some bonus training, I want to help you basically make money from the markets or read the markets and just do well. I've got some free training. It's in the link below. Check it out. Anyway, whatever you're using, just knowing the basics can be such a powerful tool. What you'll need to go to is the free Bitcoin report, and it will give you access to a free membership area. Enjoy it. It's free. You'll get a lot of value from it. So with Ethereum, what we want to think about is fives and threes and what's happened so far. So this wave 2 was a bit of an unusual correction. This wave 4 was a textbook ABC correction with a follow through. Right? In hindsight, that's what it's become. So with the next correction, which is due, is it going to happen? Are we going to see an explosion to the upside? Well, that's absolutely possible. But a couple of factors that I'm going to cover with you later in this video, you'll see why it's unlikely. What we are due to have is a correction bigger in time and price than this one. Right? So the way the market tends to move in terms of psychology and buying psychology is it has 3 impulsive waves. Wave 1, a wave 3, and a wave 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's most common and most typical. In that 5-wave sequence, the wave 2 and the wave 4 are corrections. They're like rest periods before the next move to the upside. And when the 5-wave sequence is complete, typically what occurs is a bigger correction than any other within that 5-wave sequence. So in English, the biggest correction that we've had is this movement here. So if Ethereum tops out, we can be pretty confident that we're going to see Ethereum probably test the $1,500 level. But there's another thing I want to cover with you as well, just in case you're not aware of it, is how long does a typical correction take? I'm going to show it to you like this actually. I'll show it to you here first. We're going to measure this wave 2 low, this wave 3 top, and typically, more often than not, and it's just pretty much almost bang on, the minimum time a correction takes is this 38.2%. And you can see this wave 4 was pretty much bang on that minimum time retracement of the wave 2 to wave 3. So what we can do is we can do the exact same thing, but for the entire move. Now, the wave 5 top for Ethereum has not been confirmed yet. Ideally, we want to see this low exceeded. Even stronger would be this low exceeded, and then it to come down into this range over here. So if the price goes below this low, we can be pretty confident that the top of Ethereum is in, and then we should be sideways to down for a number of weeks. In fact, before I show you the amount of time it's typically going to take and the price, let's just look at the momentum position of Ethereum. So what this tells us at the bottom, I've just put up some momentum indicators. I use the stochastics RSI. It's almost like all of this is translated into this dashboard, right? And we've created this dashboard just to simplify things. I use it, it's quite powerful, but it tells me that the weekly momentum is overbought. So when something is overbought, it's saying that the buying is running out more often than not, and we're due for a top that's probably going to last a number of weeks. That's what that information is telling me in a heartbeat. And then on the daily, it's the same, saying it's a strong overbought. It basically means we're due for a top. So when you get pattern, which is the 5-wave structure, price, which is measuring the psychology, and momentum, and we've got some time ratios. I won't go into that too much detail in terms of these. It means that there's a high probability that Ethereum might be topping out to be on high alert of this $2,000 range, because we're close to that $2,000 range. It's a psychological resistance as well. When there's like loads of zeros, it tends to be a psychological resistance. And there were some big touch points and support levels and resistance levels in the past. So there's a high probability we're going to see some type of correction bigger than this wave 4. So how big? Well, let's do the most common and most typical. Let's just say Ethereum's made its top today. All right, if that was the case, I would normally actually let me put in a question mark here, just so we're all on the same page, that this has not been confirmed, right? So we know that needs confirmation in terms of needs some type of confirmation, the market having some type of selling coming into it. So let's just do the retracement first of all. We're going to take this low to this high, and the most common and most typical level of a minimum correction is 50, 62, and 78.6%. And then how long would it typically take? Well, exactly what I said earlier. We take this low, and if it did top out today, which it hasn't yet, the two main areas as a minimum you want to be aware of, and if I show it to you like this, is the 38.2 to 62%. In other words, of this date to this date. So if Ethereum did top out today, and we saw some type of follow through to the downside, is likely going to continue to maybe even towards the end of May. So we're talking about a significant correction. That's nearly 2 months, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Will it happen? We don't know, but that's just going by pure crowd psychology, buying and selling behavior, and even ignoring that is Ethereum for a second. And to what price levels? Well, the typical minimum that we should anticipate is the $1,500 level, and the typical maximum is around $1,260. Now, there is a case that it could go even lower and make a new local low, but we don't need to concern ourselves with that right now. Main thing today is to be on high alert that Ethereum is likely having some type of top, and that's probably going to hold for a number of weeks. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It's a way of supporting the channel. We're going to finish with a quote, and I'm going to also give you another quote that supports this quote. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Right? Let me say that one more time. Failure and success, it sounds like it's opposites, right? But failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Another way of saying the same thing is another quote that I heard from one of my favorite books. It's a book called Black Box Thinking by Matthew Said, I believe it is. He said, beneath every success is a mountain of necessary failure. Right? Beneath every success is a mountain of necessary failure. Now, we're never going to fail on purpose. We have to be crazy to do so. However, we need to put ourselves out there where failure is always going to be a possibility, but it's a key ingredient to success. So if you feel like you're failing, just know you're on the road to success. So to finish, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success.